Oh, I don't know if I want to do that. All right, where do we go? Hello, hello, hello.
Let's see. Okay. Good morning. Had to unmute myself.
I
Good
understand.
morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Teresa went to put some makeup on, so I paused the recording. So we'll wait till she gets on because she has a great introduction for you, Allison.
Oh, good. Yeah, no, I don't wear makeup that often and put my makeup on and my eyes keep watering. I'm like, stop. So if I look like I'm crying, I'm really not. I just it's funny.
No problem. And I'm having a bad hair day, so the hat, and I think Teresa's had a hat on, so it's the hat girl day today.
Nah, you look styling.
Thank you, thank you.
Welcome.
So this thing says it's live streaming on YouTube. I'm not sure how that works, but I am going to go live on my Instagram account on my
Okay.
phone. And then of course this is going to be recorded for my YouTube channel. So,
Um,
and it does not have to necessarily be a particular length,
mhm.
whatever we can get out there, get the information out there, it's fine. And it depends on the questions that we may have. And Janilla gets a lot of people that text her questions, so she may
Sure.
have a lot of them. Hey, and how you doing, Mark?
Good morning. How you guys doing?
We're great. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. I sent it out to a few people if you don't mind.
Oh, of course not.
Okay.
Everybody needs this information.
That's the
I'm
same thing I
amazed at
said.
how popular it's getting.
Oh, you're going to be real busy, Allison. I just want you to know.
Hopefully we're all really busy. That's the goal.
Yes.
Good
Yes.
morning.
Good morning.
Okay, everybody is here. Let me figure out how to hit the record button. Where is it at? It's like it's hidden here. Maybe because it's live stream. I don't know. Looks like it's recording. No, it says recording paused. Okay, let's see. Resume recording. There we go. Welcome everyone to Ask the Experts Live. Today is June 11, 2024, and today we have a special guest, and I'll let Teresa introduce Miss Allison Griffin.
Oh, good morning, everyone. Happy to see everyone today. And Allison, thank you so much for being a part of our Ask the Experts this morning. Let me share a little information with you all about Allison. Allison has dedicated 31 years of her life in the mortgage business, and she's recognized as a go-to person in this field. And she has a track record of closing difficult deals. And Allison started this business here in 2006, helping housing choice voucher families transition to home ownership. And she's closed approximately over 400 families.
Wow.
And just to share a little bit about that real expertise that probably has gotten her to this place is when she became an expert witness in 2018 in a federal court case and won. And that's by confirming that not allowing housing choice voucher families for their income for not qualifying purpose for the mortgage under the Discrimination Act of the Equal Credit Opportunity Act. And for that reason alone, she has been able to become that expert and help those families with that type of income to become and enjoy the home ownership that we definitely talk about here as being part of America. So we'd like to welcome Alice Griffin, and she will share her information with us, and feel free to ask those questions that we would like to hear about. Allison?
Sure. Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction. And yes, it's been quite a journey, and got the nickname Hurricane Allison for all my efforts trying to help families on the voucher transition. And it's exciting today because now more and more families realize they can attain that dream. And they're out there asking the questions now, which is great. And so I'm here to answer any questions, or y'all direct me what's the best way I can help you get the word out so we can help more of these families.
So explain to us, for those who may not know, about the voucher program and what that is and how it can help people become homeowners using a voucher.
Sure. First off, I always try to remind people that all Section 8 housing is a source of income. Because I hear all the time, they want to layer it up. Oh, you have to live in a certain area. No, you don't. So or you can't spend more than $100,000 to purchase a house. That's not true either. So I always like to start there. That if everybody wraps their head around, hey, it's just a source of income, just like if you had extra Social Security benefits on an application to help you qualify for more of a suitable home in these neighborhoods. One of HUD's big missions is they want families to have the opportunity to transition to what's called a high opportunity area. Now, that doesn't mean they need to go in those neighborhoods. So I've had some friends of mine remind me, look, they may want to stay in some neighborhoods that aren't considered high opportunity because that's where they grew up. That's where their grandmother lived. That's where their great grandmother lives. That's where their whole social circle is. And that's fine too. The key is they have a choice. And that's why I love the housing choice voucher. It gives them that choice, right? But to take it a step back a little bit, is that it's not a program the buyer can get on. They need to be on housing. So I've been getting a lot of questions lately. Oh, well, how do I get on housing? Well, the wait list is about 6 years. If you're lucky enough and you see it open up for rental, by all means, enroll. I saw the other day that Walker County, which is just north of Montgomery County, has opened up the voucher till I think it's June 17th. But if you Google Walker County Housing Authority, it's on that website. So I had some veterans I met with and told them, go sign up. You may not get on there, but go on and sign up because this will help you. But once they have the voucher, so the first question I'll ask families is, which housing authority are you with? Because not all housing authorities have to offer homeownership. That's the second myth, is that, well, they have to do this. Well, no, they don't. And so we're very fortunate that the two biggest housing authorities in the Harris County area offer homeownership. Because you've got the Houston Housing Authority, Harris County Housing Authority, and then Montgomery County that all offer homeownership, which is fabulous. And then they have to qualify for a mortgage just like everybody else. The housing authorities are going to require that they have at least one credit score at a 640. The federal government requires that they must be working in the most recent 12 months. Unless they're elderly disabled, then they're exempt. And that they must have a minimum savings of $1,000. Now, we all know, being in the business, it's going to take more than $1,000 for them to purchase a house, simply because they're going to have to have their earnest money. You know, that's typically what, 1%? Then they're going to have their appraisal money, their inspection money. So I tell my families, you're looking between a minimum of $4,000 to $6,000. But here's the great news. You've got all kinds of programs, matching programs, like Covenant and Vera Lisa that do the matching. So if the buyer saves their $2,000, they can get a match up to additional $4,000. There's our money. Then we can match it with Montgomery County down payment assistance or the Houston. Now, so there's all these different programs that can marry up to help these families. But the families have to be committed. This is a lot of work. This isn't easy. And I tell the families, look, the good news is you're going to get most of the down payments are equal to 1 year of your income. And you get that in 30 days. Isn't that exciting? You know, we can get excited about that. But because I hear, oh, they want this paper again, Allison. I have to go write this letter. I said, yes. But think about it. You're getting a whole year's salary about roughly in 1 month. That's a pretty good deal. But yes, and then it just goes by the payment standard. So for those that are familiar with rental, the buyers must stay in the zip code jurisdiction of that housing authority. Because I get this is the third myth I get. No, I was told I could go get a farm out in Waller County, but I'm with Houston Housing Authority. No. This is for a single family home in their jurisdiction, just like rental. And so the challenge is most pre-approvals that we send out when I work with my real estate partners is I give them a pre-approval for, let's say, $250,000, and that goes throughout the whole city. Well, with the voucher, it depends on which tier they're in. So if they're tier A for Houston, a 3-bedroom voucher holder could probably purchase a $360,000 home. But if they go to tier D, now we're at $240,000. So that's one of the challenges of helping them understand. And I'm so glad that you're doing this educational Ask the Experts, because this is the kind of information to help these families understand. They understand in the rental, but they have a hard time. They get very frustrated on the homeownership, because in homeownership, they're looking at a sales price, not the monthly payment. And I try to explain to them, look, as a lender, we're really approving a monthly payment. Although we give you a purchase price to go shop by, we're really qualifying you on that monthly payment. So this is great to have this information get out.
Thank you. I have heard of the Covenant matching program, but what was the other one that you mentioned, Vera Lisa?
Vera Lisa works at Covenant.
Oh, that's a person.
Yeah, this person. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. She's a financial coach. She's fabulous.
Janila, looked like you had a question. You're
I
on
think
mute.
she's muted. Yeah.
There we go. So, no, that was going to be my question. It was Covenant and Veralisa, but Veralisa is a person who works with Covenant. So, Covenant is the organization that will get you the assistance and be able to match so that they can have their down payment funds. Now, you said with this criteria, them being able to do that, focusing on that monthly payment. What is the determining factor for them qualifying for that monthly payment? Like determining what gets them into those tiers?
Yeah. So that's done by the housing authority. So the housing authority assesses their family size. So with Houston, what I've heard, and I don't work for the Houston Housing Authority, so I just want to clear that up. But my understanding is the parent has their own room, and then it's 2 heartbeats to a room. And what that equates to is if I'm a single mom, then I get my own room and I have 3 children. So 2 children for 1 room, and the 3rd child has, so that's a 3-bedroom voucher. Now, with the elderly disabled, where it gets interesting, is that then they can get a reasonable accommodation for an extra bedroom because maybe they need equipment in there or they may need a caregiver. So I've got one family that need a caregiver and room for the equipment because they're on dialysis, and they could actually do some of that in home. So the key is the buyer needs to let us know, they need to send us a document that says, okay, what voucher size are you on? And then usually I can give a pretty good estimate as to what I think they'll qualify for.
So I have a question about the vouchers. How long, so let's say I get a voucher, how long is that voucher good for? Can I go get a job now that I'm on this voucher? Can I go get an additional job, or do I have to stay in under a certain income?
Great question. So with the voucher, they're helping families under the 80% area median income, or AMI. So the goal is to help them elevate and up and out of poverty so that they have a better opportunity. So a lot of my families over the past 18 years, within 4 to 5 years, they've incomed out, meaning they've made enough income to exceed and be above the 80% AMI, and they're now able to handle the full mortgage payment themselves. So the idea is to stabilize them so they're not having to move all the time. We interviewed one family about 5 or 6 years ago, and it was costing about $3,000 every time that family was having to move. That gets expensive. So now, I've got one lady who we closed last year with Houston Housing Authority, so I'm so proud of her. And she was determined. I mean, they told her no, and she wrote the CEO. She says, no, I have earned homeownership. And boy, did she. She incomed out within 1 year. She was studying to become a certain teacher criteria. I forget the designations, but she knew it would get her more income, but she needed the time to study so that she could better her life for her and her daughter. So she got more of a raise than she thought she was going to get. And this year, she became Teacher of the Year.
Oh, nice.
Isn't that fabulous? I think the person smiling the most was her daughter. And how wonderful for a 12-year-old daughter to see her mom up there on stage, not only become a homeowner, 18 months prior to that, get off of housing, stabilize, and then now Teacher of the Year with all these accolades.
Oh, nice.
Still gives me chills. I think it's great.
No, that is excellent news. It's an excellent program. Just have to be diligent. Sounds like it.
That's right. And she was. She knew she was on a mission. Yep.
So the area medium income is about $80,000, $85,000, correct?
Well, yes, if you're looking at the family size of what that'd be about family size of 4 to 5 probably. But with the housing authorities, they're going to do it by how many people are in the household.
Hmm.
So, for example, last year's numbers for a family of one, you couldn't make more than 52,200, and then it goes up about $6,000 for each family addition. So, family of two is 59,650. Family of three, 67,100. Family of four is 74,550. And now they've got the new income numbers out, but actually they should be releasing them any day, because I just don't have them written down. I have it on my desk. I cheat, so I have them right there, so I can look at it. But most of the families that enter housing enter under 30% median income. So to give you a difference of, most of them are entering at 18,000 for a family of one. Big difference. So what they're working towards, 21,300 for a family of two.
The other, how long does this process take? Let's say I have a voucher, got $1,000 saved up. What are my next steps and how long does this process take?
Sure. A lot of it, like anything else in life, is up to the buyer. So what the housing authorities require is that the buyer get pre-approved with the lender. They have one credit score at 640, and they take the home buyer education class. So usually I'll have the buyers apply with me, and once we can get them pre-approved, then we send them over to the home buyer education. Fifth Ward does an excellent job because they're used to helping families on the voucher. They understand how the program works. They're not the only one, but they seem to be more dedicated towards helping the families. And then we send that information to the housing authority to have the voucher issued for home ownership. There's other things the housing authority has as far as criteria, such as verifying the minimum of $1,000 in the bank account. They have to check with a landlord, no breaking leases. So they won't issue it unless you're within 120 days of your lease expiring, or verification that, yes, they can pay the reletting fee without interrupting that landlord. Because the one thing we want to be protective of is it's very difficult for these families to find rentals, and the landlords we do have that are positive, we don't want to interrupt that, right? So we want to make sure that, we don't have broken leases, which most of them don't. They don't want to do that. And then it takes, once the housing authority has everything they need, it takes maybe another 2 to 3 weeks. So I would say the fastest I've seen is 30 days. The longest is 90 I've seen.
Oh,
But it's
wow.
all up to that buyer to get them that information.
I was thinking you were going to say about a year or so.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. We're very lucky to be in Houston. They do a fabulous job, but they're one of the few housing authorities that have been doing it for, I think Houston's been doing it for at least 20 years. Same with Harris County. Now you have to be on this. So just to add to that question, a lot of questions I'm getting are on, well, Ms. Griffin, I'm just getting here. I'm porting in from El Paso and I want to go straight to home ownership. Every housing authority I deal with requires that you're with their system for 1 year. And I agree with that, because you want to get familiar. A, do you really want to stay in Houston? Once you buy that house, it's a whole different program than renting, right? And you need to get used to their system, make sure you're complying with their guidelines, their rules, because every housing authority is just a little bit different. They've got some general rules that are same, but each housing authority can set their own parameters on how they're going to run their organization.
That's where I got that 1 year from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, cool. Any more questions from anyone here?
You mentioned the home buyer education course, and you said that the one in Fifth Ward is diligent about getting people into that. Is that they can find that information on the website, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
On the Houston Housing Authority.
I don't think it's on Houston. I don't think they publish on the Houston Housing Authority, but if you Google Fifth Ward CRC, it should pop up on the internet. Google University.
Fifth
Yeah,
Ward
I
CRC,
live on Google.
Fifth Ward CRC?
Yes, ma'am.
What does that stand for?
Community Reinvestment something. I don't know what the other C stands for.
Corporation, maybe?
Maybe, could be.
Okay. We'll find out.
And I can email you the information. Monica and Mary are really good over there. They're ex-mortgage bankers, so they understand mortgage and how to help them. Because believe it or not, I can't begin to tell you how many families I get phone calls that the lenders they talk to don't use the housing choice voucher as a source of income.
Mm-hmm.
It amazes me. So one of the things that I've done is I worked with the CFPB and Fannie Mae to make sure there's a drop-down box on the loan application. And I make sure all my families make sure that that income is put on that application so that you know it's being used. So what the federal government was finding out was if the buyer never disclosed that, then the lender wouldn't know it's out there. Even though you and I know they were discouraging it, the government said, no, they need to apply with it. And so I tell all my clients, look, make sure that, you know, when you talk to the lender, they have that income on that application. And then some lenders want to do a shorter term. So instead of doing a 30-year, they will only do a 20-year.
Why is that?
So if you're elderly disabled, then the assistance will last the life of the loan, provided you're still under the income limits, the 80% AMI. But if you're a non-elderly, non-disabled household, you have the assistance for 15 years.
Okay.
So now I will tell you, probably 40% of my families last year, I put on a 20-year loan, and then they wanted me to run the numbers to see what it would take to pay the house off in 15 years. So I'm not opposed to the 20-year. I just, again, it's back to the buyer's choice, right? My role as a lender is to say, here are the options we can offer you for a mortgage. You tell me what suits your family. But yeah, the 20-year, I mean, I've got families that we did on 10-year mortgages back when Mayor White was in office in 2009. They own those houses now free and clear.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big wow. I love it. I just get all excited. So, well,
Can I ask
it's
a question?
fun. I'm sorry, go ahead.
This is Mark. I'd like to ask a question. Is there any penalty for early payoff?
No,
They have to keep the loan for at least what, the first 3 years or first 5 years, and then they can pay it off?
believe it or not, I had a lady at Harris County Housing Authority that won the lottery and paid her house off 18 months after we closed.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're all what I call agency loans. So either FHA, VA, or conventional. Most of what we do is FHA.
Okay, cool. All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Good information. Sounds like we need to get the Fifth Ward Community Reinvestment Corporation and talk to them maybe next month to kind of see how they do and how they help the community, since seems like they're experts in the voucher program.
They are. And the other reason I like them a lot is they do post-closing education, which is critical, which I'm pushing for more, that we have this, because too many of our families are closing on these homes, not filing their homestead. They don't understand, you know, with HCAD, how that process works. And especially for my elderly disabled, it's critical because they're not going to pay for the first $260,000 of value. They're really not going to pay any county tax. So I've got one of my families now, she bought in Webster, Texas. The home was $265,000. Her total tax bill is $98 a month. That's all.
Wow.
Yeah. But it was, I sat on her file, because if she didn't, she'd be above her voucher and wouldn't be able to afford the home.
Mhm.
Now she's 1 year later. Let's see, she's been in her house 20 months and she is $180 under her voucher now, just within a short period of time. So I think that's one of the other misnomers I hear is, well, these families get in, but the cost of the home keeps rising on the payment. Well, we're lucky in Harris County because we've got those homestead protections. And I
Mhm.
talked to a state senator this weekend at the Democratic convention, and they're proposing a bill so that when the buyer goes to closing in Texas, if it's primary residence, it's an automatic. Yay! I'd love that. So if I get more information on that, if they're able to get it to the floor, I'll be sending it out because we all want that. That helps those families.
So I
Yes.
have one last question.
Sure.
Can vouchers be combined? Like if there are two families or two people that are on vouchers, can they go together and get a home or a duplex?
I don't think so, but that's really more of a question for the housing authority.
Okay.
I personally have not run into where they've wanted to merge them. I've had families marry, and then, the husband and wife each had children, and then they moved the voucher from a 2-bedroom to a 5-bedroom voucher. I've seen that, but it was just one voucher.
My dog.
So these individuals will be required to live in the home for a particular time. I'm going to piggyback a little bit on what Vanda was asking. Is there a certain point in time that the individuals can rent the house out for investment property?
If they're on housing, then no, it has to be their primary residence. They cannot convert it to investment. Once they're no longer on housing, so let's say they income out, like my teacher that just incomed out really within 13 months. If she wanted to move, she could turn it around and lease that property.
Because now she makes more money. So that's what
Right.
you mean by income now. Okay.
Yeah, she's no longer getting assistance from the federal government. And the other question I get is, if they sell the house, do they have to reimburse the housing authority for the amount of money they spent? And the answer is no, they do not. And the other critical piece is that once a family enters into home ownership, and let's go back to the family I explained that's on a 5-bedroom voucher. So they get married, they move in, and they buy a house with a 5-bedroom voucher. Then 5 years later, the children move out of the house, they're going to college, and it's just mom and dad left in the house. They cannot downsize that voucher. That's one of the key benefits of home ownership. In rental, they can downsize you. So I tell a lot of my families, look, you've got teenage children. You realize that you're going to be moving almost every year because they're going to keep downsizing that voucher. But in home ownership, it's in the Federal Register. They are not allowed to downsize you. Now, there are housing authorities that do that. And that's how I educate all my families. Look, if they do that to you, you call me and you send them this document from the HUD book, HUD manual.
Okay.
That's good. That was going to be my question. Is if they get downsized and have to move. Okay, so that's awesome. Rentals, they can be downsized, but houses, they cannot be downsized. Perfect. And then you mentioned moving another person. So your family grows, you're on a voucher, you're in a home, you're in the home ownership program. Does anything get recalculated because you got married and you're adding these people into the home? What does that look like?
That's
Once
going to be
you're
more of a
already
question.
in the voucher.
Yeah, so if you're in home ownership, that would really be a question for the housing authority to answer, because you're already restricted to a bedroom size. So if I had to guess, my guess would be that the housing authority may pay more because they've got more people in the household, but you wouldn't go up in bedroom size because the unit itself is already at 4 bedrooms. but don't take that as gospel, because that that would just be but that would be a question for yeah, like probably Jordan Jones over the Houston Housing Authority.
Gotcha. Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much for all of these resources because yeah, people need to know. And as you mentioned with the like homestead exemption and things like that, the post closing, to maintain the home, to sustain the home, to not just get into the home and then be right back out of it or back into a situation that they don't want to be in. So thank you for what you do, for advocating for these families, because it is so necessary. As people are out here, they need that education. Now, you mentioned the VA and working with veterans as well. Are there any differences in the home ownership for veterans?
It just has a different title. It's called VASH. I do not know the acronym, what it stands for, but yeah, VASH. And so, yeah, they've got the right to use their VA benefits for their 100% financing and buy a house. I probably closed, I don't know. I haven't closed as many on the VA because it's relatively new in the past 4 to 5 years, but maybe 10 families.
Okay.
Yeah, so over time, but and again, it runs the spectrum. The highest closing I had was a veteran at $490,000 sales price, and he's the one I was thinking of that merged the family. So he's a household. He had 5 children, yeah, and he and his wife.
Gotcha. So yeah, that's important as well, for those veterans to have that program available to them for them to be able to move. So that, just to recap really quick, some of what you said, you must be on the housing voucher already. Wait list right now is 6 years. So this is not a get on the voucher now and then move into home ownership. This is for people who are currently on a housing voucher. Using a housing voucher, they will be able to take advantage of this opportunity potentially. And then if you are a veteran, there is a VASH program available to you that allows you to use a voucher to purchase a home. These qualifications and criteria can be found, but one person at least has to have a minimum credit score of 640, working within the last 12 months consistently over the 12 months, and a minimum of $1,000 saved. Of course, it does take more than that to purchase a home. So you can work with programs like companies like Covenant that will allow you to match. They will match you on what you save. So the ability to save up your funds and be able to get into and utilize the full spectrum of this program. Any other information, Allison, that you want to share, or wisdom tips for those who are wanting to pursue the voucher?
I liked your comment about advocating. And usually the first thing I start off with is, yes, we're realtors, we're builders, we're lenders. But when you work with this population, you really become their advocate first, because they don't know. They've got a bunch of information thrown at them. They're already nervous. They're typically a first generation homeowner. So they don't have relatives to talk to. They don't have people in their neighborhood to talk to, and they're frightened. So being able to reassure them and taking the time to educate them. The good news is, once you close one, they tell all their friends. So then all of a sudden, oh, we found somebody that's going to help us. So then everybody else comes running, right? But the key is to have the patience. When I first got in the business in the 90s, we had a whole lot more first-time home buyers that were first-generational home buyers. I don't see that as much anymore, except in this population. And just stay the course. It's HUD's pushing really hard at the national level to make sure this program goes. They want 100,000 families nationwide Right now they've got 9,700. They need to be doing, yeah, wow is right. They need to be doing a whole lot more, and they can. And right now with the builders, I've heard the builders say, "Oh, we're busy." The builders aren't busy. They're calling me, asking me, "Hey, Allison, you got those Section 8 families? We can make a deal." I tell them, "Look, I need you to pay the closing costs. I need you to do the washer, refrigerator. I mean, this is part of the program." And so I would say 90% of the builders that are in that price point are more than happy to work with the families and help.
Allison, I have a question. Like, if you're an agent who's listing the home,
Mhm.
is there certain things that they would need the homeowner to contribute to make that a easier transition for us closing for the buyer who is going on the housing voucher home ownership?
No, the only thing that is they have to do the third-party inspection. So on resale, everybody pretty much does a third-party inspection. New construction, it's mandatory. So the buyer has to do third-party inspection. And then after that, they do what's called an HQS. So that would be the only thing to be prepared for. And I educate my agents, look, try to get all that done in the option period. So if there are issues and that either through the third-party inspection or through the HQS, they need to have repairs done to the property, then it's in your option period, so you negotiate with that seller. But otherwise, it's just like any other loan.
I
Thank
wonder
you.
how
That's
that's
good to know. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I'm sorry too. I wonder how that's going to change with the buyers not wanting, the sellers not wanting to pay the buyer agent's commission. If the housing authority will put something in there to allow people on vouchers to be able to pay their agents.
That's a great question. It's a whole new world we're getting ready to enter.
Yeah, no.
And it makes me really sad. My mom was a broker for 35 years, and she only dealt with first-time homebuyer. So I grew up with this since I was 11 years old. And it makes me sad that the industry, and I'm not talking about the realtors, but the industry, like buyers and sellers, don't understand the value of a realtor. That makes me sad, because I'm going through one right now where they did a rebate realtor and it's a train wreck. And now the buyer is with the housing authority out of Dallas. And now they're understanding that that doesn't work. You need somebody to walk you through the whole process. You need to understand the inspection. They need to show up to walk you through. What is this? What does all this mean? And the agent said, no, we don't do that. Well, of course they don't, because they're giving away pretty much their whole commission just to write the contract. Yeah. So that I see as a challenge. I don't know the answers to that one. I know that they've got a committee that I'm on at HAR that we're trying to work through some solutions to educate the community on the value of a realtor, because everyone on this call has a huge value. And we just need to get the word out as to why that's true.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
How can we connect our homes? So sellers, is there another website, or is there some way to connect our sellers with the buyers on these voucher programs?
Not that I'm aware of, because historically there just haven't been enough of them. I think that will probably change over time. But to give you some statistics, last year, the Houston Housing Authority closed 24 families, of which my group did 22 of them. So we need more people. I've been actually training my competition, because I'm like, come on, everybody, we all need to be doing this. You've got 16,000 families on the voucher. There is plenty of business, but we all need to kind of step up. And so I've helped 3 different lenders get educated. I actually wrote a buyer's manual. So yeah.
You said you wrote one?
I did. It was very painful. I'm not a writer. So I tell everybody, it might look easy when you read it. And it's interesting because it's my housing authorities that have really appreciated it. And I'm more than happy to share it with you. I just wouldn't want it to go out in the public. but as a tool to help people understand. And when I say buyer's manual, it's not really meant for the buyer per se. It's meant for the professionals so that they understand, here are the steps. And my housing authorities love the flow charts because then they can understand what part of the process. Okay, the first thing, here's your voucher. Oh, I'm thinking about getting home ownership. Here's the steps. Then once here's how you interview a realtor. We gave some key tips. And obviously my one buyer in Dallas didn't follow my tips, but anyway, he's getting it now. Yeah, but these are the important things, right? Because you don't want to get in there and lose an earnest money of $3,000. Yeah. So, but no, it's been a big help. So I'm working on the realtor and lender one also.
Oh,
Yeah,
great.
that would be awesome. That would be awesome because it can be intimidating from all aspects, from the person who has the voucher to the person who's the lender to the realtor. It can be intimidating on all aspects of making sure that we're guiding the client the right way, right? That we're giving them all the correct information, and then making sure that, again, they're getting into something that's sustainable for down the road and being able to transition out of the program.
Right.
Because I know that's really the effort, is to provide this assistance for a time, and then you're able to move forward out of the program. And that also opens up more opportunities for others who need to be on the program to get on the program. And so I think that's a wonderful aspect of bringing that to the table. Would appreciate that very much.
And feel free to, give me feedback. I've got broad shoulders, I like constructive criticism. So.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, I think it's awesome. And, we are all realtors that are passionate about helping people, truly helping them get into homeownership, whatever the aspect is, or avenue that they're using to be able to be well-versed. And I thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have any other questions? I have no questions from my people. Stedman says hello. Said you're the best in the game.
Oh. Tell him thank you.
I don't have any questions on my end either.
Yeah, I have no questions, at this time, but I definitely would love to meet more housing voucher clients or customers that you would have that are in need of an agent, because I'm sure this is a process.
Yeah.
Like you said, and the main part of that is the confidence that those buyers need when they make those first steps toward home ownership to get them through to the finish. Because it like I said, it can be a little time consuming, but very rewarding at the very end.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Very good.
Well, thank you, everyone. I think we're good on our information today, and we appreciate it. And Allison, just give us how we can contact you.
Sure. My best contact number is my cell phone, and that's 713-202-7005. And again, that's 713-202-7005. And then my email is ALYSON.Griffin, GRIF as in Frank, IN at ccm.com. And I also have the Griffin Housing Alliance webpage up on Facebook. And I'm trying to get to put more educational information on that, but we're doing testimonials and we're starting to get some more feedback. So feel free to follow that Facebook page.
You said that was the Griffin Housing Alliance.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect.
Will do.
Okay, great.
Thank you, everyone. And
Thank you, Allison.
have a great day.
Okay.
Bye-bye.